Yo, what's poppin', boys? We got power rankings today. So, full disclaimer, I did not get to thoroughly watch either the Saturday or Sunday games completely. I got bits and pieces, and I watched all the highlight videos, but I didn't get to thoroughly watch it all the way. Um, that being said, I think I've watched enough to to be able to form a decent opinion. And on the left side is the is what I had last week for week one. So, also. APAC is coming up this week, but I'm choosing not to do power rankings for APAC because honestly, that's a good reason, and I your guess is as good as mine. There's no real analysis to be done right now. Uh, so I'm just not doing it. If people want me to, I will, but it's whatever. Anyway, starting up, returning to number 13 is the Paris Eternal. Uh, they ended up losing. They only played one match. They dropped Naga, pick up Web. They go 3-0 to Toronto. Pretty much expected, but not a lot of fight from them. Not a lot to say. Play performed exactly as I did. And the next two could honestly also be below them, but it's hard to justify it after watching the thrilling game they played. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with Paris at the bottom. The moves, questioning, maybe they're not even better this meta off of them. It's hard. So moving on to number 12, we have the Vancouver Titans also returning. So obviously Vancouver get 3-0'd by Mayhem and go 3-2 or 3-1 to New York. So going 3-1 to New York, I can't be above them. And spoiler, they are up next. So they honestly looked even worse in week one, I think. I don't know how they got more dysfunctional, but it is not inspiring. They are playing Shockwave Aspire now, which is better to watch at least, but they actually do look worse, I think, or maybe the other teams are better. It's hard to say. Anyway, they lost their one to New York, who is coming up at number 11. So I believe this is all the same as last week. Hold on, let me take a look. Sorry if I am. Yeah, it's all the same so far. So the bottom three remain on the bottom three. That's just how it is. But not inspiring performance whenever they beat Vancouver. It was very close. I thought it was pretty close from what I saw. And then they do take a map off Shock, but getting a pity map and then otherwise getting dominated the entire series does not increase your rankings very much. So yeah, bottom three remain the same. We do have some movement coming up at number 10 with the Boston Uprising. I believe this was the London Spitfire. Yep, it was London because I don't have it up right here, so I have to like tab back and forth because I'm also looking at some other stuff. So, but yeah, so Boston going below London, the Rush players. London beat Boston 3-1, and honestly, they show that they are not really playing Rush out of necessity, but because they I think they actually believe in it, which is good. We did see Shax come in and beat Boston in Route 66. So I think I might do a video on London actually about how they're playing Rush and all that. So that might be good. But coming out of Boston, they are. It's hard to say much about them really. They have three guys in every slot. They're playing Punk sometimes, but Punk comes in, he's playing Monkey, Marvel, and Itzel are on the bench when Punk's playing Monkey. I'm not sure what's going on. They seem to be moving away from the Doomfist a little bit. Not sure. They sub out Striker a map for no reason. I don't think you ever want to sub out Striker on Boston, especially when Tracer is getting more gameplay from week one. Uh, Gotta question this coaching decision to pull out your star player, to be honest, and I'm not sure what this tank rotation is. They gotta figure that out more solid. Punk should never be on Monkey, unless he absolutely needs to be. If you have any intention of playing Monkey, do not put Punk in. You have two Monkey players right there. So I don't know. And coming up at number, what is this, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Ooh, cracking the top 10. That's not where London's going. They're going right there, number 9. Um, so they only move up a slot by beating Boston because last week Boston was right above them, so they're just flip flopping. So it's not a huge move. It's not going to be a lot of moves down here. Um, but they showed that they can play other things. Like we saw them play something else against Vancouver, I believe on that same map maybe route. But bringing in Shax look great. Shax is one of my favorite players, so really exciting to see him play even a little bit. And they look really good against Boston, to be honest. I I'm starting to believe a little bit. Like I don't know, I'm starting to see something there maybe. So great stuff from London, to be honest. I didn't expect them at a bottom three, if I'm being honest with you. So it's nice to see them up a little bit. Moving on to number 8, going down um, a few slots. Moving up actually. Yeah, wait. They're moving up a slot. The Florida Mayhem. Boston go down. Oh, so yeah, that's how it was flip flopping. Boston went down 2, London went up 1, and Florida stays. Not true. Florida moved up 1 too. So Florida moves up a spot. I'm sorry. It's very confusing looking at this and then looking at that. My bad. But you can see it, so you know. So yeah, Florida ended up moving up a spot. We see them play Houston and Vancouver. The Vancouver match, they look dominant, but it's against Vancouver, so honestly, it doesn't move them up the power rankings at all for me. This says preseason rankings. There we go, week 2. Um, but against Houston, although they lose 3-2, they looked pretty good, but honestly, they're moving up more because Boston looked worse. And Florida did look good. Majed did well ish. He does die a lot, but that's how it goes. Someone looked good. Hydron looking great. I'm a big fan of Checkmate too, honestly. I'm not entirely sold on the back line, to be honest. I like that they're really dedicating to playstyle, but is that playstyle going to bring them places? Unsure. So close games against Houston, gonna bring them up a slot, but that's all for that. So moving on to I forget the number again. Uh, 11, 10, 9, 8. Moving up to 7 is the Houston Outlaws. Uh, being the king of mid. Houston falls a lot. Houston goes from 4 to 7. So why did they fall so much? They lost to Shock 3-1, and it wasn't that close. It looked like maybe they could bring it around after Midtown, but they couldn't. So and losing to Florida, winning barely against Florida. I don't know. I just felt like they should be doing more, and maybe it's less. Maybe I don't know. It's hard. Honestly, I think I put them too low. I might change this a little bit. I was thinking it doesn't sit right. Nah, they're staying there. They're peak mid. They're peak mid. Florida barely beating Florida, taking a map off Shock. Maybe you can do things against Shock. Not answer you can't. Uh, so yeah, I'm gonna let them be peak mid, but following them is the defending champion of mid, the Toronto Defiant. They only play Paris, but this more so comes from like them beating Paris does not move them up. Are they even moving up at all? I couldn't tell you. They are moving nowhere. They're not moving at all. They're staying where they were because, of course, they are. So this is more Houston being worse than Toronto being better. Could Houston be above Toronto? Sure, sure they could, but Toronto did just beat them in week 1. So I don't know. Houston's high ranking before was pretty much solely relying on them three own fuel. And now that they have played more games and they've looked mid, they are placed as such. So yeah, the champion of mid won against peak mid, uh, who barely beat almost peak mid. Basically, this is what we got for big mid. Um, but a little more exciting is coming in at number 5, the Atlanta Reign falling from first. So maybe I can't figure out exactly why Atlanta looks much worse. I think like they got absolutely dominated by Washington. I think it's because Washington figured out like the Hawk situation, the Doomfist that's getting played by Atlanta. Doomfist seemed to be a lot worse in week two. I'm not sure if that's because Tracer got more playtime. Actually, I kind of think it's because Tracer got more playtime, and Atlanta did not look good at all. They looked bad. Like it was not great. They looked good on Eichenwald a little bit, but not better than Washington. And Washington looked like absolutely goated. So from what I've seen, unless Atlanta figure out uh, like they had Hawk on Diva. That's how you know their plans were not following up. Uh, I don't know. Uh, Definitely not high hopes for Atlanta entering next week after getting completely shafted by Washington, who is number four. It's the Washington Justice. Now, obviously, they put on an absolute thrashing on Atlanta, and that's going to raise their spots a bit. I don't know what it raises them by. Why is my Discord open and my Spotify? Close that. There we go. So Washington ended up going up 2-4 from seven. So I rated them as mid, but after that thrashing into Atlanta, there's no way you can't put them higher. They have a good core. The whole thing with Washington has always been, will they be able to play like up to their roster's potential? Because they have Decay, Happy Decay. How can you not have a little bit of even a little bit of faith in Happy Decay? They're so good. Uh, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with Washington. I like that spot for them. Honestly, I could see them holding on to it. I think Atlanta could bounce back too. Maybe go to the lab, cook something up, but I'm going with Washington on this one. Number four for sure. They can punch up. They could go higher. Uh, the when Decay and Happy are on and Mag, ooh, that is a scary roster. No doubt that's a scary roster when they're playing well. So moving on to number three, up from five. You know who that is already. You see the Dallas Fuel because you can see it when I say five as soon as you know. So Dallas um, ended up just edging out on the Glides. It was a very close match. I unfortunately did not get to see it live, or not live, like there. Obviously, it's not, but you know what I mean. Uh, so very close, but I like Glads more because who knows Glads not on the board yet. So despite Dallas beating them, I still like Glads more overall in the league. Now that might be a very hot take, but I'm still not sold on Dallas running the Zarya as much. We saw Hanbin had to switch over to Monkey to take a map, which he did, but I trust Rush a lot, right? I really do, but uh if they're committing to Zarya, I don't see them like if Glad's played him again next week. I don't think Glad's lose kind of thing. You know what I mean? The reverse sweep was crazy, and of course Dallas. I think Dallas have way more reverse sweep potential than Glad's. Just like as a team, I just get that vibe. But I don't think Gladiators get reverse swept against Dallas again if they play next week, right? I thought Glad's looked sharp overall. Uh, New Queen Street, they were winning it until they weren't at the very end. Uh, Eichenwald, not as great for them, but I don't know. I'll just put them at number two right now. 'Cause I'm talking about them so much. I don't know. I see the vision way more for Glads than Dallas. Uh, Results aren't everything, right? I just see I didn't get to see the game. It's really rough. I could watch it, but I don't want to spend an hour and whatever however long it is just watching that one game. So I just watch the highlights. But from the highlights, what I saw, Dallas running this area, Glad's running their comp, right? I saw Rhino go over to Doom for a little bit. I'm gonna give it to Glad still. Uh, my bad. I'm not paying attention. I'm not following the results. But this is power rankings, not standings, right? That's the whole point. Moving on to number one, we see Shock. So SF Shock ended up playing Houston and New York. Giving New York a map, whatever happens. Uh, who cares, really? They still look dominant. Beating Houston 3-1. There was some potential for Houston, but they squashed it. I like this roster. I think they're playing really good Overwatch. Really, really, really good. I say it's not standings, and I put the team that's undefeated at the top. Their schedule hasn't been that great, but we will see. We'll see next week when they end up playing Glads. How right I am. I can definitely see that going Glad's way. I might even pred Glad's. It's power. It's really close, right? But yeah, I don't think I'll pred Glad's. I think I will pred Shock. But so yeah, this is gonna be my power rankings after week two. Only nine. We got APAC coming up next week. I might do like a team preview for them of all the APAC teams or something. Talk about what I think they're gonna do. Maybe I also want to do that one in London, so I'm not sure what's gonna happen there. But I also want to talk about how there's less Genji and more Tracer being played. So a couple of videos I could pull up, but this is going to be it. We have the week one on the left with the week two in the middle. Um, yeah, have a good one. Like, subscribe for more Overwatch League content, and have a good one, man. Deuces.